Hey guys, and welcome to a special edition of the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. This is a collaborative effort between us and Share, a Shrewsbury-based charity that's put together by Jane Mckenzie. And I want to say a huge thank you to Jane for inspiring this idea. Originally, it was the short version of the story is Jane tagged me in a post on Facebook that was an idea that where poetry was being used as a way to inspire people that are dealing with addiction and mental health issues. As soon as I saw the post, the light bulb ding went up in my head, and I thought this is a great idea. This is something we should be doing on the Shrewsbury Biscuit as a regular thing, and we are going to be doing this regularly now. It's a great idea. It's a great idea to get people, to send us in poems or even music that they've written that is relevant to this situation. So we're going to, invite people to send us in poems and pieces that they've made. And also, if you want to come on the show and talk to us about, openly about your issues and while sharing your material too, please do get in touch. We would love to hear from you. You can speak to us on our Facebook, or you can also email us. Our email is shrewsburybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com. Now, I haven't quite come up with a name for this yet. I come up with Shared Biscuits. Shared Biscuits is great because it incorporates the Share name and obviously the Shrewsbury Biscuit name. So this episode is going to be called Shared Biscuits, and hopefully this is going to be something we can do at least once a month. Invite people in, talk about these very candidly about these situations, because there is a stigma behind these issues. And it's good to talk about. It's not always negative. There's some great success stories and lessons to be learned. So we want to keep doing this. I'm going to share with you a poem on this intro that was sent in by Ryan Williams from San Jose in California. So not very local, but still very inspiring. And if you're from places other than Shrewsbury, please send us in your stuff, because that's what we want to do. We want to inspire. Ryan Williams is a good friend of mine. He's been very, very supportive with things that I'm attached to and things that I make. And you know what? I couldn't say thank you enough to this gentleman for being as supportive as he is. He's a good guy, and I think you're going to enjoy his poem. So I'll hit you with this poem, and then we'll go into the show. So Ryan, here is your poem. First sips were to celebrate. All sips afterwards were to escape. Escape my pain, escape my thoughts, escape my past, escape my fears. Ignore the pleas, ignore the tears and goodbyes. I must escape. Unrecognizable face, full of hate inside and out. Must change for my daughter's sake. Life is far from fine. Daily struggle to not sip. If I trip, I will not fall or escape. I'm reminded why in my daughter every day. Thank you for sending that in, Ryan. That was beautiful. It's really, really nice because it illustrates the changes that people go through and the responsibilities that are taken up by becoming a parent. I mean, unfortunately, not everybody makes those positive changes, but a lot do, and I think it's commendable. There's a lot of respect there for someone that's changed their lives positively so they can bring a new life into the world. So well done, Ryan. That's brilliant. Anyway, I'm gonna start this episode off. I hope you enjoy it. This is featuring myself, Julie, Jane Mckenzie, Max, and Emily Wilkinson from Raven Studios. I hope you enjoy this. I really do like this episode. So, yeah. Take away the music. Peace out. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm your host, Alex Whiteley, and joined with me again is my beautiful co-host, Julie Fox. How's it going?
It's a good job this is audio and no one can see me yet. Alex, because I wouldn't say beautiful at the moment. I'm very well, thank you, though.
I wouldn't say as you're shoveling. Is it Crystal's cupcakes you're shoving into your car?
Yes, it is.
Thank you for joining me
Yeah.
today. Today we're doing a very special episode, something that we feel like we could possibly actually do as a recurring thing. We can do this definitely as a serial type show because I quite like the idea of it. Jane Mckenzie, ex-mayor and founder of Share Shrewsbury, is with us today, and she came up with an idea of something she saw. It was on the BBC. It was on the BBC, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Yes, in London, they're putting on poetry and live reading video calls for people who are in recovery, because social contact is so important for all of us. But particularly if you're on a recovery journey from addiction, it's absolutely imperative. And these have proved really supportive and really helpful to people.
Fantastic. Yeah, I've as soon as I saw it, I thought, wow, this is an amazing idea, because
Yeah.
I've always championed being creative and taking your emotions and your feelings and putting it into music, art, whether you write it down, whether you keep a journal, for example. You know, you're taking those things. It's almost like like Harry Potter, where they take memories out of your head with a wand and put it into the pool. Like that's pretty much what it's like. So I thought this was a fantastic idea. So the idea today is to get together. Share why this is important, and read some poetry, and then we invite people to send poems in as well. And joining us is Emily Wilkinson from Raven Studios. Emily's a great artist and great writer as well. So I thought the first person I thought of, there's a pool of people in Shrewsbury that are brilliant at poetry, but Emily was the first name I thought of. So thank you for joining us, Emily.
Oh, thanks for asking me.
No, it's brilliant to be. I mean, Raven Studios is great. What you guys do, I know you do a mixture of things. You know, it's not so much poetry; it's a lot of art, yoga, and all sorts that goes on there. But we'll talk a bit more about Raven Studios in a second. And joined with us as well is Max. Max, do you want to give people an introduction to who you are and your relationship with this?
Hello, absolutely. So I'm in recovery from alcoholism myself, and I was recently put in touch with Jane from Share. And just figures there's a great symbiotic relationship to be had there in creating more awareness around the disease itself, and hopefully to inspire others through Share. I'm very grateful to be a part of it, and I can only see good things coming through it.
Fantastic. I love that. I love your story, and I love how positive you are about it as well. So we'll get onto that. Jane, do you want to talk us a bit about your journey? I know it's painful for you, but the reason why Share exists and why you put it together.
Yeah. The reason I started on this personal journey myself was because my daughter Amy suffered from alcohol addiction, and we as a family didn't really understand for a long, long time, until the addiction was very deeply entrenched, what really we were dealing with. And so when I became mayor, I decided to support recovery in and around Shrewsbury as my charity. And that was an eye-opener. I knew there was a lot of stigma around, but when you're trying to raise awareness, then you're confronted with how difficult this subject is, and how local communities want to distance themselves from the thought of addiction, even though it is part of all of our communities. And halfway through my mayoral year, workers in the local drug and alcohol service actually asked me if I'd consider setting up a charity of my own to make sure that the money we did raise stayed local for our local community. And that's why I set the charity up. I decided to call it Share because I wanted it to be about people sharing their time, their stories with people who had resources, money, talents that they could share with them too. So I wanted to make it a reciprocal thing. And we now have somewhere in the town centre in the Riverside where we can meet and talk with people and give support. And in the middle of all this, tragically, my daughter died in May the 15th last year. and so it's made it a bit difficult for me to get going with the charity. If there's anyone out there who wants to volunteer and help, like Max is now helping, which is wonderful, please do get in touch. I think we're going to share details later. So that's how it all started.
Yeah, it sounds like a very, I mean, words can't describe sort of that journey. You know, it's quite difficult. It's horrendous. You know, you've been through quite an ordeal, you and your family, and I remember. I think we spoke to each as this was all happening. I think you messaged me. I think it's before around Comic Salopia, wasn't it? It was around sort of the Bigot, all that, and my heart just exploded for you. Honestly, it was just such a horrible thing to hear, but you're doing something that can possibly help people, and that's really good, you know.
I just want to say as well that I'm part of that big group which is called Friends and Family. So it's my daughter that suffered. There's thousands of people out there who are also friends and family of people suffering, and their voice isn't being heard. So one important part of this charity is to give voice to these people and give them support and help them to understand what they can do to support the person that they love who is suffering.
Yeah.
And I suppose, Jane, at the moment, given lockdown and keeping a lot of people in, and surprisingly off licenses being an essential place to shop, I guess there could be a potential increase in the people that may require the services of the charity.
Well, you're absolutely right that there is already an increase, and the police are already reporting more alcohol related and drug related crime and domestic violence, as you know, all of these things spill over into our personal lives and those of our families. Surprised me too that it was considered an essential service.
I think it was. I mean, I spoke about it on a different show. We were talking about it, and I said it's possibly like a morale thing. You know, is they probably seem like, oh, if they're I mean, you know, in general, if they're having a few drinks and they're getting merry, they're not thinking about the negativities of what's going on, so they're not going to be complaining on Facebook or what have you. But I think typical British, what we've done is we've flipped it on its head, and all I've heard about is, you know, street parties and house parties, and you know, people like learning how to make new drinks, and you know, it's I mean, it's a strange one.
I must also say on that note that alcohol does become a medicine almost if you're dependent on such a thing. And I know certainly with my own journey that I wasn't even aware I was dependent on alcohol and using it as a medicine. And in my personal opinion, I do feel like, unfortunately, off licenses are essential. I mean, so many people have an alcohol dependency without even realizing it. I strongly believe that.
Yeah, I suppose it just seems strange, doesn't it, that it's sort of it's classed as an essential, but now that you, having had the experience of put it that way, that it's seen, I suppose it's probably like smokers needing nicotine, I imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference.
Yeah. An off license offers so much, doesn't it? I mean, there is your cigarettes. Excuse me, Mike.
I suppose it's all of it, isn't it? It's vaping. But like you say, if at the time when you aren't aware that there is that dependency, but you are using it in a medicinal way, you know, and it's obviously people think of medicine in the traditional sense. Of course they do, don't they? But you know, everybody, medicine,
how it makes you feel,
yeah, totally, yeah. But how did it make you feel then?
Towards the end, it made me incredibly scared and fearful and anxious. But initially, it made me feel great. It made me feel like I could find out who I was. I could say whatever I wanted. I could be who I wanted. But of course, it's not true. It was all just an illusion. Yeah.
How long was you dependent for, Max, if you don't mind asking?
Not at all. I mean, drinking every single day without fail by myself from age 18. Yeah, and I'm 30 now. So it's about 11 years. Very roughly.
Okay. Yeah. And in terms of, you know, because I suppose it's also like you say, drinking every day. I suppose it's the volume, isn't it? The amount, because, you know, I like a gin. I have a gin every day. is it a single? Is it a double? I don't know. Do I just have one? Sometimes at the weekend I might have two. Some days I won't have one. But, so I suppose for people that perhaps don't understand, and when you say like every day to that level of dependency, what does that look like during a day, so to speak?
I mean, it looked very normal. I was going to work. I was doing everything that everyone would expect of me. Of course, things in the background weren't so great, but on the surface level, things were fine. And it wouldn't be sort of until my responsibilities had finished that I would then go and, completely just drink to oblivion, basically.
Right.
But then as time went on, I see it as a progressive illness, and it just got worse and worse until I was drinking before work and even drinking at work. Not all the time, but it certainly happened.
Yeah.
And then it turned into kind of, I had a little scooter, and it even turned into like drinking before I went on this journey on my scooter, which is just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Were there trigger points then that made you sort of, is there a trigger point that makes you think, actually, I need to have a drink right now? Or?
There used to be, certainly, in just like minor confrontations throughout the day. And I tell myself like, oh, I'm drinking more tonight because of this happened or because of that happened.
Right.
But I think generally it's just a kind of hum in the background, just a constant kind of desire, because I was that unhappy with who I was.
Yeah.
Just felt the need to constantly change that.
And how were you introduced to Cher and Jane? What are they doing there?
So there's a good friend of mine, and I believe Jane could probably tell you more, to be honest, but I believe that put Jane in touch with myself. I think that's how it went.
Yeah, that's right. I was putting up posters because we started to have public meetings in the university centre where we were just inviting anybody in the public to come along. They were open meetings just to talk about addiction. And so I went in to put a poster up, and we started to talk about the subject, and she thought of you. And then I think she told you about the meeting, and you came to it, or you were going to come to it. It might have been one of the ones we had to cancel in the end because of the floods, but that's how we made contact.
So I must say as well, been instrumental to my recovery and getting me volunteering at a charity shop as well, which has been huge. Volunteering with responsibility again, and it's a great girl.
Fantastic.
So, how long have you been in recovery?
So since November 2018.
Okay, cool.
I will say that I've had a drink on 3 occasions in that time. So I was a member of AA, but then AA, obviously, you must be abstinent if you're going to attend AA, which is great and it works, but it's not my journey. I have drank on things, but luckily, I've managed to keep that at bay. But I feel like I've transcended who I was in the. It's where it gets a bit spiritual. In that I'm not who I was anymore, and I feel like I've got different kind of mental patterns, thinking patterns, if that makes sense. So I don't feel like, knowing what I know now, I'll ever go back there. But obviously, I don't know that. I can't say that, and it's a very, very dangerous thing to be messing around with.
Yeah, the complacency sort of thing. You've done amazing though, and I really do. I've got you.
That is.
Yeah, you're really inspirational. I want to come to Emily, who's been sat there quietly waiting while we. Sorry, Emily. Let's talk a bit about.
That was really inspiring to listen to.
It was beautiful, wasn't it?
I was in touch with Jane earlier in the week and said on the email, actually, I don't have so much direct experience of addiction, and then sort of realised shortly after that's not really true, because one of my uncles died when I was 6. He was an alcoholic. Quite successful person in business, but had this whiskey habit basically, which was the end of him, which is very sad for the rest of my family. We were quite young, and I've got a couple of friends one friend who's 20 years sober from alcoholism when she was younger. The poet friend, very open about it, so I can say his name. He's called Graham Attenborough, based in Shrewsbury. He's was an addict when he was younger. He's got some great poetry about that. So it sort of touches everyone's lives, I think, in some way. Fantastic.
Maybe we can get in touch with him for the next session. That'd be great. but more about that was beautiful, by the way. I'm glad that you kind of sort of thinking about this and you found time to reflect and see how this kind of affected you. I mean, because we all just go about our lives, don't we? We're just kind of like, oh well, and until you actually stop and think. And I think this lockdown has given us all that time to just sit and think about how things affect you.
Could I, Alex? Could I just jump in for a sec here?
Of course.
After what Emily just said, whenever I talk in public about, or when I used to talk in public about addiction, and I'd get a zero reaction from the audience, I would then say to them, "You yourself may not have a problem, but you may know someone who does," and we'd sort of everyone would think about that, and just like Emily says. Mostly everybody in the audience would know of somebody or have someone in their family with addiction problems, usually alcohol. And that really helped to break the barriers down to realise, actually, this is something that we as a community need to own and acknowledge and work together to do something about. So thanks, Emily, for that.
Beautiful. I like that. Do you want to tell people about Raven Studios as well and what you guys do there?
Yeah, of course. About a year ago, last April, beginning of last April, I set up a studio space with Jancis Vaughan, who's another artist in Shrewsbury. It's on Smithfield Road, called Raven Studios, next to Premier Inn. We're primarily really workspace for artists. We've got 9 creative space there. Artist, writer, got an architect, a musician, people who work in sort of arts marketing as well. And I teach yoga. I actually we're not stopped doing kind of yoga and things in the space because actually it's just become full of artist workspace, and I was doing that for my own sort of room, and I need that space for myself because you can't make a mess and then have to clear it up every time you have a client come in or something. So that's not there at the moment, but I say well-being is a real big part of the work we do, and several of us kind of work in the arts and health area, so work with vulnerable people or different social enterprises. We are a social enterprise. We're a community interest company called Make Space Arts and Wellbeing, CIC, so that runs the studio. We put workshops on, and got a group for young people that had only just got going before lockdown, so it's still a shame because it took us a while to attract the young people to the studio, and obviously that sort of stopped. We're working with Participate, the other art space in Riverside, on some stuff, and they're putting into bid to possibly do some online activities over the summer, which we might help them provide. So we're not sure when we'll be able to start offering in-person things, but as I say, our first sort of purpose is really workspace for creatives, and we do.
We found that we spoke to Shrewsbury Streetscape, who James is drawing the buildings and the streets all in a straight line in the most beautiful detail, and we found that
phenomenal.
Yeah, when he's doing like Facebook Lives or YouTube Lives of him just sitting there drawing these immaculate lines and things, there's people tuning in by the hundreds just sitting there watching him draw.
Mesmerising. Yeah. It's mesmerising.
It truly is. So Ravens. I feel like these things go hand in hand. Do you find that, Jane, working with a charity like Share and someone like Raven Studios, where people use their minds and things? Do you think that always marries up well?
Well, the interesting thing is that a lot of creative people also have addictive personalities. And obviously now I've met and talked with and been supporting a lot of people who have problems with addiction. And time and again, the creativity and artistic element, there's a crossover. So I would agree with you. And also creativity is a great way to get it out there and the feeling inside, the emotions to express them. So art, creativity, poetry, it's all very important part of recovery.
And Max, have you found a way to cope with cravings, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Now I do meditation, I do cold baths, I do a lot of running. So I kind of cope with it in that respect, in that way now. But initially, it was really, really, really tough, and the only thing that really got me through was groups sharing. AA was massive for a long time for me. And equally, Shropshire Recovery Partnership. They do the SMUT meetings, which are good. I didn't attend them as much, and more was into the cycling group with those guys, which again was great. But yeah, more than anything, it's just about sharing, talking about how you feel. I think when these things arise. Yeah.
And how's that being supported currently? Obviously, given that people can't get together in these group environments now, for example, what are you doing, Max?
Sure. So I have been offered to do an online AA meeting via Zoom, which I believe they're still doing in Shropshire. But I'm part of a Sangha online, so it means I can still be with the community of meditators and can still catch up that way, which is good. It's a bit weird, but yeah, no, it's
fantastic. It's fantastic.
And how's the charity reaching out, Jane, as well to people at the moment, given obviously that that whole sort of face-to-face element has gone at the moment?
Well, that is a big part of it. But what we're trying to do at the moment is to carry on giving people support by phone and in other ways indirectly. But also we're trying to gear up now for a campaign that we're going to launch after this is all over. So I'm doing a lot of work in creating straplines, the imagery, and this is all about fighting the stigma around addiction, because whilst our community think it's old guys on a park bench sleeping rough, and that is their image of addiction, we're never going to get the treatment and support from the public that we need. So we know that that's very far from the truth. It's your teacher, it's your doctor, it's your mum, it's your son that's the addict. And so this campaign is around connecting people to the idea that this is to do with people they love who are in their community. So that's going to be a really big, important campaign that we'll be bringing on. And then we've got a big conference next year around debunking some of the myths about addiction, because addiction's a disease. We don't treat it like that, but it should be treated like any other disease and given the support and the services and the treatment that we would, for example, for diabetes or cancer. Again, until we overcome the stigma about it, people won't believe that those services are needed.
Yeah.
Whenabouts is your conference next year, Jane, and where?
Right. Well, it's actually next year. It's going to be on the second anniversary of Amy's death, which is Saturday, May the 15th. And it's going to be at the University Centre, because they've been absolutely great. We had started yoga classes, we'd started a drop-in session all before the crisis. So that's a pretty good central place. And the conference will be there. We've got the national government-appointed National Recovery Czar or whatever he is coming to speak there. So we're really keen to get as many people there as possible.
Are you going to be speaking at that one as well, Max?
I really don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. My goodness, a bit more organised, a bit more rehearsed.
One last question, Jay.
Why not?
Oh, go on, sorry.
Yeah, well, no.
Oh,
why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Oh, I just killed it. I literally just threw a question, bam, right in the middle of what you guys are saying. You'd be amazed at how many times I do that on the show. Fantastic. Well done, Alex. Well done.
That was my question around that, I suppose, was more about, like, you talk about guest speakers at the conference. I would assume, but rightly or wrongly, would you have ex-addicts there speaking as well?
Oh, of course. I mean, this charity is going to be led by people in recovery. We can't speak about them; they have to speak for themselves. So I've said right from the start, we've got our people in recovery are the ones who are going to tell us how to lead the way with this. So they'll be at the forefront, and at the conference too. A lot of people talking about their journeys and about what worked for them, and yes, that will form the core of the whole thing. Or the heart of the whole thing. Yes.
Yeah.
And the question I was going to ask, which I just threw right in front of Max, I'm sorry, is with addiction, I found, because I kind of work around that sort of field, is like the amount of things people can be addicted to. Like, it's not just your drugs and your alcohol. There's a wide array of things that people suffer from addiction with. And, they say that everybody's got their vice. And I talk about it a lot on the show, having healthy vices, like your yoga, like your poetry, like, whatever, to cycling, fitness, whatever, the healthy vices. But, there are an amazing amount of things that people can be addicted to, right? And it's serious.
Yeah, I know people joke, don't they, about coffee addiction, but that is because of that. Yeah, well, I suppose it's potentially less damaging in different ways, but it is still it's like you say, Alex. It is an addiction, but people get addicted to the gym sometimes in the wrong way, and that obviously can overtrain and have injuries. So that creates a different type of sort of like support needed from obviously the health services.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to compare myself. Go on, Jane. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, I mean, the classic definition of addiction is when you continue with a behaviour that is damaging to you, and you're out of control of it. So, of course, as you're saying, many things can become the substance of choice.
Yeah.
But what we also have to remember, those people who carry on to become addicted, they're using that, as Max said earlier, as medicine. They're numbing the pain, and it's the pain that you have to get to. This the reason why they're taking this, whatever their substance is, in the first place. And this is why talking, support, therapy, psychotherapy are all very important part of it, because it is a brain disease.
Yeah. And people get addicted to medication as well anyway, don't they? Painkillers and all that. So things that obviously are given for. Yeah.
It sort of addiction rewires the brain so that you continue with something that may even kill you. And alcoholism is a terminal disease, and it will kill you in the end. And your brain carries on wanting to take whatever it is, in this, say, alcohol, even though it will eventually kill you.
I feel like that's a marginalised point on
devices
alcohol
as well.
It's a really good point, Jane, in that it is there's many underlying mental health issues going on alongside alcoholism, but it's so marginalised and not looked on.
Yeah. Well, look, we're here. This is amazing. This chat was actually quite inspiring. I've actually learned quite a bit, but we've come here for a reason today. We're coming here to read some poetry. I think the idea is that whether it's the actual writing of the poetry, which helps the person that's written it, or it's the words that are spoken, maybe we can inspire some people and help people. So we've all brought in something today, apart from Jules. Next time,
I'm. Bear with me, because if it's a case of reading some poetry, I'm just going to do a little bit of cheating.
Okay. What we'll do is, because this is Jane's amazing idea, and her battery's dying. Well, I'm going to give Jane the opportunity to read first.
Help.
So what I want you to do is read your poem, and then at the end, explain what it means to you.
Okay. So this is a poem that I wrote after Amy died. I'm afraid it's not particularly inspiring, but it's real, and it's about the impact on me. A very short poem. Sometimes I drink from the cup that was yours, or sit where you sat, but none of this and nothing else can bring you back to me. Your leaving was the darkness falling, all hope dying, and me alone weeping.
Oh.
So
thank you for sharing that, Jane.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah,
truly moving.
it is. It's all very hard. The second poem I have is one of it's not my poem, It's one of Amy's favourite poems that I found in her things after she died. I'm afraid I've slightly amended it. It's a poem you'll know, I'm sure. It's Stevie Smith, Not Waving but Drowning, and I've amended it to make it female instead of for a male, for a man. Nobody heard her, the dead girl, but still she lay moaning. I was much further out than you thought, and not waving but drowning. Poor girl, she always loved larking, and now she's dead. It must have been too cold. Her heart gave way, they said. Oh, no, no, no. It was too cold always. Still the dead girl lay moaning. I was too far out all my life. I'm not waving, but drowning. And for me, that sort of sums up, from Amy's perspective, what it must have been like, the place where she was. She was always the life and soul of the party, charismatic. People would flock to her. They loved to be with her. She was funny and witty. But inside, she was drowning. And with addiction, people very often are in denial. And that, to me, epitomises the conflict, the difference between how she felt inside and how everybody perceived her from the outside. So that poem is important to me, and it was important to her too.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I love that second poem because it explains perspective. Its perspective is in a brilliant way, you know.
I'm sorry to bring the mood down.
No.
a bit,
But, I want to. I mean, any writer out there will appreciate what I say. I want people to express their emotions. That's what this is all about. So, if it's a bit dark and it doesn't matter. It's come from you, you know. So it's important.
Yeah, I am a bit dark.
Max, did you bring anything to read today?
I did, absolutely. I've got a poem. I must confess that I wrote it kind of quite last minute. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Perhaps a bit more time. But I feel like it's good. It's solid.
So sometimes, I was just going to say, sometimes they're the best ones, Max.
Yeah, I feel like that. A bit spontaneous. Yeah, I hope it's good. Yeah.
Okay.
So start. Where did you look? What did you seek? Were you aware of how much this could make a man's mind tear in two? I shook, shuddered, surrendered, pain. Tears of joy, tears of sadness, of ignorance, of blame, of shame, of never knowing, watching the days passing beyond the single window pane. People seem so happy, not for me. Why would I want to be happy? Why would I want to be free? This no life became alive. Thoughts and fears realized, hopes and tears gave way. Fears and illusions crumbled with disdain. Many months of pain. Now I see all of what I lost, all of what fell away, was just only making room for the love I have today. That's my poem.
Oh, wow. If you only wrote that last minute. Wow.
That was great.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Oh, I really like that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Sorry, I was mixing it as I was going because it was coming across loud and quiet. I don't know what it is. I think it's a signal. No, it's fine. It's going to sound great because I was doing my magic. See, I was doing my magic. Emily, and you brought something to share today, didn't you?
Yeah, I do. I have a poem called Breathe, and it's kind of a meditation on breathing, I suppose, but also connection.
Okay.
I'll read it now. Breathe. Up, down, body sinks to ocean floor. Inspire, expire, lay old bones to rest. As above, so below. Expand the underbelly. Cool, response. Words surface one by one. Push, pull. Bring the tides back home. Integrate, dissolve. Every last hard place. Fill up, let go. Anemone hands unfurl. Open, close. Starfish eyes stare up at blue. Expand, deflate. Flood the spaces between. Inside, outside. Me, us, them, you.
Yeah. I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you do need to remember how to breathe, don't you? You need to, and that's really important.
I started at the very beginning of it, and you started saying the words. It sounds a bit like from when I've been in yoga classes, and I sort of started to feel myself going,
yeah,
do it. But obviously, don't do it now because they'll hear it on the microphone.
yeah.
That was beautiful. That was really nice. Thank you, Emily.
Cool.
Did you say you had one more to bring, or was that the one you?
I have a couple, but I wasn't sure how many we were reading.
It's totally up to you. It's totally up to you. I'm building myself up for my poem because I don't do poetry at all whatsoever.
Do you want another buffer?
Yeah.
You want me to read this doom and gloomy one that I've...
Yes, actually, I know you've got one.
Yeah.
Okay, this is... Right, this was published in June 2010 by somebody just known as Sierra, and it's called A Letter from Your Disease. Hello, fellow addicts. I am your disease. I will never let you sleep or put your mind at ease. I will always be there no matter where you go. I am smarter than you and I am in control. Family, friends and loved ones won't matter anymore. I'll take everything you've got and still want something more. I was there for you in the good times, but mostly in the bad. I've made you feel so happy, but in the end, you were always sad. You will lie to everyone and say that I ain't real. But if that's the case, why can't you put down that pill? I come in many forms and shapes and size. Then following comes denial, deceit, and lies. I will turn you from everyone that tries to take you from me. Together we will spend all eternity. I'll embrace you in my arms. I'll never set you free. Spend our life together. Won't that make you happy? Don't let those people tell you what I am all about, because then you'll find a way to kick me out. Well, here I go now. I'll just be on my way, but not for too much longer, because I will have much to say. So when you think I'm gone and you can finally be at ease, just remember, I will always be your disease. Oh,
yeah,
powerful.
Yeah,
that was very deep.
Yeah,
I wasn't quite prepared for that. Wow. Whew.
Well, I've Googled poetry for addicts. So, and it was one of the first ones that came up. So, Sierra, whoever you were, from June 2010.
yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you for that.
Love
and
it.
John,
Okay, this is my poem. It sounds really daft, right? But I wrote this silly poem about my onesie, my Rick Sanchez onesie. Rick and Morty is a big show, and it's one of my favorite things to fall asleep to. I can't quite fall asleep to it at the moment. My addiction actually at the moment is this show and everything that comes with it. Okay, so I like being busy. I like being out. I like planning things and meeting people, being in the studio, putting things together. But we've kind of stopped at the moment. We're kind of just, in our houses, and it's driving me blooming crazy. Like, it really is. So I've written this and explains how this actually does feel like the end of the world for me. Okay. Okay. It's me and this Rick onesie of mine. We sit and we ponder, will we be fine? While the world has stopped working, my mind it keeps whirring. It's a tornado you see. Or when will they please let me be free? It is me and this Rick onesie that's white. I can tell you all now, I am not all right. Inspiration is where my ideas are made, through the meadows of life and of course the parade. It's an earthquake you see. Or when will they let me go out and go see? It's me and this Rick onesie again, sat here just waiting for the release from this chain. The dumb lose their minds over their shopping spree finds. It's a tsunami you see. Or when will the end of all this be? Me and this Rick onesie, you punk. I feel like my battleship was finally sunk. Getting dressed now is a mighty old task. If you're going to Asda, please don't forget your mask. It's an avalanche you see. Or when will the footy be back on TV? Me and this Rick onesie for one last verse. My motivation is dead. Someone get it a hearse. My kid sits here whilst he's bored, while you gather en masse in your hoard. It's a pandemic you see, and I really need to go wash this old Rick onesie.
Oh, wow, that's good. That's really good.
Thank you.
Honest.
Nice to have the contrast.
Yeah, I just wanted to. I mean, like I said, this is my addiction. I don't have any at the moment. I mean, food, I guess. Cake is my addiction, really. But okay. Thank you so much for everybody, you guys that brought stuff in. We've also had a couple of poems submitted as well. I'm going to attempt at reading other people's poems out, but I don't want to do it injustice, so I'm going to try. And if I mess it up or I say it in the wrong way, I really do apologise. I'm going to start off with Clio. Clio sent in 2 poems, a brilliant young writer, and I wanted to read 2 of the pieces out, and I really... hope you appreciate it. Okay, so this is number 1, and it's called Merciless. Who were they? To pray under the name of the Lord, to rive so desperately away from the demons that consume their damaged mind in the wake of their ungodly treachery. Pure white wings, blood-soaked under the luminous light of the sun. The truth steeped through their naivety flowed painfully through their bloodstream, entering the heart and brain. It was a disease, yet it was pleasurable hereafter. To those charlatans dancing in agony, consumed in the harrowing light of the truth, wings alight and flesh burning, for they are not the saved ones, merely an illusion or some sort of deceit, destined to be destroyed and to forever replenish in their own guilt. So that's Merciless by Clio. Unbelievably powerful, right? I read this and I was like, wow, oh my God. Okay, and this next one is called The Absence. Whew, catch my breath. Your absence becomes more prominent in the passing days. My body yearns for you, aches, screams. My mind is empty. Aside from the thought of you, and I pray every second that you leave my head. You never go away. My prayers are unanswered. It's becoming more and more difficult to refuse you. But you know that already. You have taken everything from me. Money is no longer mine. Everything that once belonged to me even, gone. And for what? Just to release myself, to let go, just for a while.
Wow.
That was Absence by...
Gosh.
Yeah.
How old is
I can't say.
Oh, you can't say right. No, of course.
Under
That's
20,
not her real
I'm
name
guessing.
either, is it?
No, it's an alias. I got to keep it protected, but I got to say, I'm very proud of her for writing that in and sending that in, because it takes a
very
lot.
sophisticated.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's that's very mature work for I'm really proud of her. Okay, I've got another one sent in. It's a long one, and there is a swear word in this one. This is the last one as well before we end this. It's quite long. There's a bit of a swear word in there, but I'm going to change it. So I do apologise, but I have to. It's a child-friendly show, yo. And this was sent in by Lisa Veal, and she says, my good friend Dave Peate from Copthorne penned the following back when all this started. So she wants me to read this on behalf of Dave Peate. So here we go. A little dutty, I rustled up to try and cheer us all up. Just day 3 into self-quarantine, the house is quiet but ever so clean. I've scrubbed the walls, the carpets too. My only bog rolls sat by the loo. I sat in my pants, no one objects, 'cause they cannot tell when on Webex. I miss the vibe, the office banter, but quite happy with my wine decanter. It's time to head up to the loft, racing up the ladder like Lara Croft. To rescue the board games covered in dust, this new life I must adjust. I'll take a break from the trusty phone and play Guess Who on my own. Is it Alan or is it Flo? Who gives an F? I already know. Monopoly next, I recline the chair, but get all stroppy when I buy Mayfair. I turn my hand to noughts and crosses. I've won a few, but I've had some losses. I finish with a game of snap, a game of skill. I wear myself out, so time to chill. I sit in the window and feel at ease, but catch myself waving at trees. Staying home to avoid infection, I now say hello to my own reflection. I miss the company and female interaction. Now I think Charlie Dimmock has some attraction. My tummy rumbles, so I make some tea, but all in my cupboard is bloody spaghetti. I'll learn to cook. First thing to master is how to make the elusive shop pasta. I'll do home exercise and plan to keep fit, but first I must find my home brewing kit. Emissions have lowered, but that's no surprise. But the sale of baked beans, it will ultimately rise. Shoving food into their trolley right to the top, they've already done their Christmas shop. One thing I bought as a saving grace is enough beers to get off my face. I switch on the telly and watch Holly and Phil doing my daily routine on the dusty treadmill. Jogging barefoot to great amuse, but as I haven't found out, I can't find my shoes. I dream of winning the lottery draw, but if I do, there is one flaw. I can't fly abroad to chill and relax. It'll be 2 nights in lockdown in Halifax. I can't go shopping without a care. Greedy sods have done that. The shelves are bare. One thing I do is treat NHS staff who are working their nuts off to save our arse. We can't fight this virus on the beach, but our families are close to and within reach. Our elders called up to fight the war. All we have to do is to shut the front door. They had it hard. Their life was glum. They didn't bulk buy to wipe their bum. Miles from home and family they missed. They can watch Sky at home and get rhymes with missed. Drunk. So return the favour and look after the old. We wouldn't be here if they hadn't been bold. This thing will pass, so stay upbeat. Just stay at home and not on the street. We pull together, this disease will deter. So let's be the nation we proudly once were. There we go.
Cool. Wow.
All the bits I got wrong there, I will pull it together so it sounds perfect. I don't want to... thank you so much for sending that in, Dave. That was fantastic. Long, but very prevalent and, what's going on. But, covering on what Dave says, actually, we were talking about how off licenses have probably influenced a lot of people to nip out to the shop and to buy, beer on bulk. Max, this must be a really difficult time for you, because that is must be so easy to do for you, right?
Yeah. What, to go and buy booze now?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it absolutely is incredibly easy, but it always is, It always is. In many ways, I don't see too much of a difference in that respect. Like, this sounds really bad, and it's a bit of a confession, I suppose. So in the last few weeks of my drinking, I literally had no money whatsoever, and my mum was transferring me the money I needed every day to get my cider. It's about 8 litres, I think, at the time.
Wow.
And then I saw a homeless guy, and I know him. I never give the homeless people money because, obviously, so I try and help them out in some way. So I bought him 2 large bottles of cider, and even buying them in the shop, I felt like, what are you doing, Max? Why are you buying it? Oh my goodness me! And then I went outside the shop and I couldn't find him anywhere. It's like, where's he gone? I've bought him cider. I'm not going to be stuck with this. Oh my God, I'm not going to be stuck with this stuff. And I saw him, ran after him, gave him the cider. It was fine. But the thought process was completely different. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm stuck with this. Great. It was like, oh, stuck with this stuff. So I really feel like it's a complete shift of mindset in my.
Yeah. I mean, people's priorities have changed now as well, haven't they? It's not, it's not important to go out and for everybody to go out and buy beer. I mean, as long as you're home safe and you can sit and watch your Netflix, Of
course, but it is a quick fix for depression, isn't it? Like in the very, very, very short term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is depressant, but
I think it's
it's
the dumb things that I do when I've had a drink that upset me the most. I've got to say.
Yeah, man.
You know,
I've got a long list to them.
I've got to re-record a podcast we did last weekend because I started drinking whiskey. It was with Adam Pennell from the Shropshire Lad, the chef, and I was having a few whiskies, but I didn't realise how much whiskey I drank, and I kind of just hit me towards the end of the show, and I was just slurring my speech. I was stupid. I was loud, and I listened back to that audio, and it's actually helped me a lot because I was kind of like, you know what, Alex, you're an idiot when you've had a few drinks. You're not even a joke. You're an idiot. Like, so let's not do that again, please. Okay. You know, reflection.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
Right. Has anybody got anything to add before we get onto the closes and telling people where we're from and stuff? Has anybody got anything to add on what we've done here today?
I'll try and write my own poem next time.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try. I will. I'll have a go. Whether it'll be as good as yours, any of you guys' ones.
It's nice to hear things from other people though as well.
Yeah, true. I could just be the storyteller, couldn't I, of others maybe if I.
Yeah, because that's a massive way into poetry for a lot of people. It's just reading other people's work. Yeah.
And of course, it doesn't have to be poetry. It could just be written prose.
Yeah.
So that widens it a bit. I just want to say thank you, Alex, for running with this idea. Like you say, I just put something up on Facebook and you taken it up and made it happen. And I really hope that we can repeat it, maybe even make it a regular thing until this crisis is over.
Yeah, well, while you were gone, you know, in transition with your phone and stuff, I did say that, you know, I want to make this at least a once a month thing. And you're right, it shouldn't just be poetry. You know, if somebody wants to come and play some music for us live on the show, if somebody's got some magnificent artwork that we can't see, I don't know. I guess you can come on the Biscuit, but I think, you know, it's going to be almost everything. You know, if you've written a piece, if you're writing some music, if you want to reflect in some way on these sort of sessions, we're going to come up with some sort of jazzy name. I don't know what to call this yet. If you guys have any ideas, please do, because quarantine sessions doesn't going to work because we're not going to be in quarantine forever, are we? So,
no.
But thank you so much for joining me, guys. Jane, do you want to tell people where to find Share and how people can help you?
Yeah, I think at the moment, if I just give the email address and telephone number, people can get in touch that way. So the email address is Jane, Jane, at shareshrewsbury.org. And the number is 0797 370 2772. So if you want to get in touch either way, we'd be very, very happy to hear from you. I can't remember what the other thing was that you said.
How people can help. How can people help you?
Oh, yeah, very important. If anybody wants to volunteer to get involved in the smallest possible way, we're always looking for somebody to help us on the admin side, but also anyone who's got any counselling skills. There are so many people out there who want to talk to somebody and need somebody with a bit of experience to help. So please do get in touch, whatever your skills might be and however you might like to help. We'd be really happy to hear from you.
Fantastic. Emily, have you got anything to add as far as Raven Studios is concerned?
Excuse me.
No, that's really just a thing. Well, probably I can think of something off the top of my head, as usual. Yeah, I mean, we can. We're really open to working with any sort of arts and health. We can make the space available for people who want to come in and sort of pay by donation for like a one-off day. If they want some short-term space to make art for a week or so, yeah, we can talk about that when we're back. I'm allowed to use the space again. That'd be great.
Fantastic. Max, you got anything to add?
Just wanted to say thank you, really.
No, you're fine.
Thanks for the space and all of that.
No.
And equally, just, you know, it would be wonderful to eventually see the stigma get broken and people become more accepting that it is a disease recognised by the World Health Organization.
Fantastic.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
You guys have been amazing. I've really appreciated doing this. Writing poetry, I didn't realize was quite fun, but it actually was. Writing that was quite fun. It's the reading it out part is quite hard, because it's I feel like poetry is like a slice of your mind, right? It's very intimate, you know.
Very therapeutic as well, Alex.
It is. I was trying to hold it in when I was reading that, because even though it's quite a fun little poem about my onesie, I do feel like the world is ending because I can't go out and do my normal life things. It's really, it's crushing me, you know. And Julie will know I've had a really difficult couple of days emotionally. So reading that out and writing it was quite good, actually. I really appreciate it. So guys, send in your submissions. If you've got poetry you'd like us to read out on these sessions, if you'd like to come on the show, if there's something that you feel like you could share a message, or if there's something you can help out with, get in touch. We'll get you on the show. Come and read some poetry with us. Thank you very much, guys. Our email, by the way, if you do want to get in touch, is shrewsburybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com. And you can go to our website and you can find out all the information about us. And that is www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. And this has been amazing. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
peace out. Bye.
Yeah.